Hey guys, welcome back again to the Zeal Cigar Review. Today we're smoking two very rare and limited cigars, and we're talking about your best cigar buying practices that you need to know, all next on the Zeal Cigar Review. So essentially, what we're talking about most definitely are two very rare and vintage types.
Punched in the nose?
We're not going to talk about what happened to my nose. All I know is that I got a brand new helmet and I was viciously assaulted by trying to put it on. You saw the whole thing happen, right?
Allegedly.
It was awful, dude. If you look right here on my nose, I got punched in the face by my brand new motorcycle helmet, which I'll show you a little clip of. It's an awesome helmet. I love it. Fits me great. But it was pretty brutal getting hit. In fact, when I hit myself, what did you do?
I was just laughing.
You jumped back and you were like, ooh, I saw that.
Well,
ooh.
I immediately saw the line.
Oh, dude, it hurt so bad. So just so you know, I'm not training for the MMA, but I think I could win in a fist fight somewhere with somebody over there. So no, I don't win every battle. Helmet 1, Bradley 0, but I'm sure it's going to be a great helmet for me. With that said, we're going to be talking about two really distinct cigars right here. And so, Justin, tell them what you're smoking today from the ever-famous LFD.
I'm actually going to smoke the this Andalusian bull, which looks like a freaking horse.
Yeah, dude. The Andalusian Bull. This was like the #1 cigar. I think it was 2017 or 16.
Okay.
I can't remember. All I know is very, very rare, very limited. I had the first batch that came out. Wasn't super impressed by it. Had the second batch that came out. Very, very, very good cigar. And I am smoking a cigar that I didn't even know even existed until a local guy here that comes to our shop named Brandon actually gifted this to us. And this is Camacho's. This is Camacho's pre-embargo. You can see the 1962 date on the side right there. This cigar is alleged to have pre-embargo Cuban tobacco inside it. So we're going to smoke these cigars, tell you the best practices for buying cigars. But first, you know what we got to do? We got to cut, light, and
smoke. So it's kind of funny. So when he brought these in, I think I was originally supposed to smoke that one.
Right.
Because we were talking about cigars that kind of still had possibly Cuban tobacco.
Uh-huh.
But I'm a huge LFD fan, and you've never even seen that.
I didn't know this even existed.
So we were like, it's only fair if we fit each other's hopes and dreams here.
Right. So
thanks, Brandon.
Thank you, Brandon, a lot.
Dude, actually, I got another things, too, while we're cutting these. Do you remember a while back I sent a hat to a gentleman in the UK?
I do believe that, yes.
Yeah, so his name's Martin.
Okay.
He's over in Wales.
And my history.
Yeah, he's Welsh.
He's
bloody Welsh.
I'm Walian. I get it. I get it.
But Martin, he does metal detecting.
Oh, okay,
over
cool.
there.
Yeah.
I think he has a YouTube channel called Digging in the Green Grass.
Oh, we're gonna link that
Digging
below.
in the Grass. Yeah, we'll link it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But he sent me a coin that he had found.
Okay.
Which is a 1797. Looks like
is that gold?
Like I don't know. It's made out of something, but it's a super old coin.
That's
super
pretty cool.
neat. Yeah. And then he sent us a Winston Churchill.
It's a bottle opener, bro.
It looks like it's actually for a harness for a horse.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
So and then the V is supposed to be for victory, and then you got Winston Churchill smoking a cigar. Now some of them had an engraving,
right,
and some of them didn't. But
all right,
super cool gifts from Martin. Thanks, Martin. We did a little trade.
Yeah,
hat for some goodies, and So
thank you so much, Martin. We really do appreciate it. I remember Justin showed me that yesterday, and I thought it was incredibly awesome. So now it's time to light these things up. Tell you what we think.
Yep, they're my poser. Yes, they're my poser. It's a nice little reggae song for you. I think it's by Fire and Ambrosia. Well,
I'm gonna reserve judgment until I get into it more. It's a tight pool. I'll tell you that much. It's a tight pool.
Okay.
Does it taste like it has Cuban tobacco in it? I could taste what they say is Cuban tobacco. I could taste a little bit of that earthiness, that barnyard hay, that kind of stuff.
This is a lot lighter than I expected from considering it's from LFD.
Yeah.
At least on first light.
Oh yeah.
I'm usually used to getting punched in the mouth by LFD.
In fact, this is the old Camacho logo. If you can see this logo right here, you can see the old Camacho logo. It's just beautiful, very ornate. I'm not a big fan of the new stuff they've done, although it pops and really catches your eye on shelf space in a cigar lounge. But I kind of like the classic, to be honest with you. I bought multiple classic boxes of Camacho, old school like Corojos, triple Maduros, and what have you. And I really liked it back when Christian Arroyo, had the company.
I like that band too. I'm not gonna lie, I like that band too.
It's really ornate. It really is really ornate. And the thing about the Andalusian Bull, which is really cool, is that's like an old mold that he used, like a very old vintage Cuban mold that he used for that cigar. It's not Cuban tobacco, but it definitely has like an old Cuban mold.
It's got some notes though.
Yeah,
it's got some notes of some of that earthy, spicy Cuban-esque little cream. Yeah, not 100% not what I expected to get out of this when I lit it up. 100%.
Awesome. That's really cool.
So I'm excited to see where it goes. Big fat sucker though.
Right.
I don't even know, what do you call this size, dude? It just gets like...
It's the Andalusian Bull size, man. It's the Andalusian Bull size. So
are they all that size?
Yeah, they are.
It's just one size?
All of them are all the same size, dude. Come in like a 10-count boxes.
I never noticed they were that fat.
My only criticism of the cigar is a little tight on the pull. That's about it. But not bad. I can still smoke it and everything else like that. I prefer to be a little looser. So if you're watching this video, you probably know that there's good and bad practices when buying cigars. And if you're just getting into cigars, or you are an avid cigar smoker, these 5 tips can help you regardless of where you are in your cigar journey. So we got 5 tips. We came up with these, and we think they're very, very helpful, whether you're buying online or you're buying in a local B&M. So these tips go for anybody who's buying cigars. The first tip we want to share with you is what, Justin?
It has to do with buying online. One of the biggest things you want to do if you buy anything online is make sure that you give it time to acclimate when it arrives.
Absolutely.
I mean, especially in our case, like, we live in Phoenix. So it's going to be 110 in July.
Right.
So if somebody was shipping stuff out of Phoenix, it's going to start in a truck at 110 degrees and then go from there to a plane or maybe ground, right? Where then it goes up into,
Yep. It gets cold,
15,000 feet where it's cold, and then it comes back down, and then the humidity changes, right? So
absolutely.
It's one of the hardest things to do, man. Is when you get new cigars is to just let them sit for a few days. But listen, like,
let me say
what do
something.
you do when you get a new fish?
Let me say something. You put it in the bag in the fish bowl and let it acclimate before you let
it adjust to the temperature first.
Right.
Then you adjust half water. You let a little water in, so then it adjusts to the water.
Right.
Then you dump the sucker in there. Same thing with cigars.
That's a great example, and I'll say this. If you're like me and when you get your cigars, you want to smoke them immediately. You don't want to wait whatsoever. You will absolutely notice a difference between when you get your cigars and you smoke them right away versus letting them acclimate 3 to 5 days in your humidor. The acclimation makes all the difference in the world. And if you give them even more time, you'll notice even more of a difference. I've given cigars, and I've tested this, where I've done a cigar right away. I've let it acclimate 5 days. I've let it acclimate 2 weeks, and then a month. At a month, it's perfect. But none of us can wait that long. We want to smoke them right away. So with that said, let them acclimate. Smoke something else. Do anything you can to let it acclimate. But I will say this. When you let your cigars acclimate, like the fish in the fish bowl, you will absolutely be thanked by your palate.
Well, and what's funny is that, like, we're one of the biggest offenders of that, right? One of the manufacturers or somebody we're working with sends us a test blend. I'll rip that sucker open and smoke it right there. But am I really doing that cigar the proper justice and getting the proper notes out of that cigar by not letting it sit?
But we don't do that with every cigar.
No.
We take one of the cigars, smoke it then, and then usually probably, I'd say, a week later, we smoke the rest of the cigar. So that happens all the time. And with that said, guys, if you let your cigars rest, your palate will absolutely thank you. And you won't see an inconsistency in the flavor. That's for sure. Number 2 is important, and that is when you go to a local B&M or brick and mortar, you want to ask the retailer there, how fresh is this cigar? Like, when did you get it in? Did you just get it in? Is it a brand new box just got from the manufacturer? Or has it been sitting here for a while? If the cigars have been sitting there for a while, they've probably already acclimated to the temperature in the humidor. And if it's a good retailer, he's obviously kept his temperature 70-70, his temperature and humidity 70-70. So with that said, you want to make sure that you can ask the retailer, is it a fresh box? Because it's a fresh box, no problem in buying a fresh box. Just let it sit in your humidor or let it sit there for a little bit. Some retailers will let you buy the box, let it sit there for a week if it's fresh, and then come pick it up in a week. So it's really up to you and how you want to do that. But I will say for sure, you want to ask the retailer, hey, Is this a fresh box or has it been here for a while? And retailers will be very honest with you on that. That's also a really good way that you can find some hidden gems that we're going to get to later on in the video.
Yeah, you're trying to skip ahead too fast. Dude, I gotta say, man, this is way smoother and creamier than I was expecting to, like, be ready to, like, get sick, because LFD is just known for making, like, such strong cigars. I can see why this is the one that everybody's after. Right. I can see why this is the one people want, because it's
a good cigar, dude. It's a very good cigar.
It's comparable in flavor to some other X's and things like that, I would say.
Right.
It's similar.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you this much. If you're looking for Cuban tobacco that's pre-embargo, Camacho claims that this has it in there. I am telling you right now, I am getting hints of Cuba. Most definitely.
And it's supposed to be in the filler, if I'm understanding correctly, right?
Yeah,
it's in the filler
it's actually pretty good. It's actually pretty good. It's a very good cigar. And to find a pre-embargo Cuban cigar is super rare, and I believe the cigar is super expensive. Somewhere between $25 and $65.
Now,
depending on where you get it from.
We may have to educate ourselves, but is that something that's still in production or just stuff that's still left over from that year?
I think it's left over. Yeah. So it had to be
like stuff
pre-1962. Yeah, pre-19, or somebody found something, somewhere, and I'm sure once, you know, Kennedy put that whole embargo in effect, there were probably hundreds, if not thousands, of factories literally stashing tobacco away or selling it somewhere so they could use it later on. I'm sure, and most of that's probably been smoked through. But once in a while, something pops up, and you're like, "That's pre-embargo Cuban tobacco, and it's legal to sell here in America."
I've heard mixed feelings about this cigar, and I'm gonna personally say, from my own smoke at this point, it's better than what people say that I've heard. It's exceeded my expectation of it.
This is a very good cigar. Is it my favorite Camacho I ever had? No, not even close. Does it have hints of Cuban flavor and tobacco in there? Yes. It's a very good cigar. It's nowhere close to the best Camacho that's out there right now, even being sold. So, but it's a very, very good cigar. I really do enjoy it. And it's rare. So when cigars are really rare, it's hard to like get them and be excited about them and everything else like that. Because they're one-hit wonders typically, or one-box wonders, or things like that. So it's very hard to get these in. So if you've had this before, if you've had the Camacho pre-embargo 1962, drop a comment below and tell me your thoughts on this cigar. If you've had the Andalusian Bull by LFD, drop your comments below and tell Justin your comments on that cigar.
So I'm kind of an offender of not particularly following this best practice, number 3.
This is a very, very important practice that everyone's going to debate with me in the comments.
I got an argument for them right away.
Okay, go right ahead.
So number 3 is you should probably keep the cigars in cellophane for at least the first week before you consider taking them out for aging. I'm bad about this. I'll get some new cigars that we get in, and I'll take like 5 or 10 home and I'll stick them in there. And I did it with the Rhapsodies.
Okay.
Immediately uncellophaned them, stacked all of them on top of each other in a drawer, and just left them sit there for like a year on top of each other and rotated them, right? But here's one of the things I didn't think about that could potentially happen when I take them out of the cellophane that early. What if there was a beetle in there?
Yes.
Even if my humidity and everything was right when I took it home, maybe I took it home too early and it didn't sit in the humidor here long enough. And maybe a beetle hatches. And now all 10 to 20 of those cigars that I just took out of the cellophane are now getting munched, dude.
So
that's one of the thoughts I had.
We're inadvertently asking the question, to cellophane or not to cellophane? That is the question. And I will say this, in general, you want to keep your cigars in cellophane always. Do I always do that? No, I do not always do that. But the ones that are in my humidor that are uncellophaned came that way. And I'll say this, that if it has cellophane on it, keep it in there, because what the cellophane actually does is it helps regulate the humidity within the cigar. Also, if you did have a beetle and it did hatch for whatever reason, when it eats the cellophane, it dies and it cannot spread to your other cigars. That's one of the reasons we want to make sure that you absolutely keep your cigars in cellophane. There's no planned obsolescence in this. There's no conspiracy within the industry and that we're all trying to get you, like your cigars are going to taste worse. Actually, I've had a cigar that I've aged for multiple years, 2 cigars. One took out of cellophane, one in cellophane. I smoked it, and I really believe they taste exactly the same. One outside the cellophane, and in fact, I'll say this. keeping them in cellophane also keeps them away from the flavor of other cigars bleeding onto them. If you stack a bunch of cigars, Maduros, Connecticut's, and everything together, sometimes if you have a certain painted Maduro or a certain aged Maduro, what's going to happen is that's going to bleed over into your Connecticut's. It can leave like a dark stripe and not really be good for the cigar aging in general.
So number 4 is one that you already kind of tried to sneak away to, and that's sometimes, especially if it's like a kind of a corner shop somewhere, they might have some hidden gems or something that they've been sitting on for a long time. And what you could ask those retailers is, hey, you got something that you've had aging for a while in the humidor, and maybe they have like, maybe they have an Oliva V or something that they've had sitting in there for like a year and a half, and you're like, oh, you know what? I've never smoked one that's been a year and a half aged. Or maybe he's like, you know what? I've had this box for 5 years.
I'll tell you what, man, if you get a box that's 5 years old from a retailer, that's better than, I don't care what it is.
Pick it up, and the cellophane's yellow.
Oh, absolutely. Buy that over a box of Padron in a heartbeat. I'm telling you what, the more cigars age, the more the oils and the sugars meld together, and it kind of mellows out the cigar a lot, and it makes it sweeter typically and smoother. So that's why we want you to be able to like find those hidden gems. We have a few of them here. I know that lots of people in the Valley, that if you went there and said, what's your oldest box of cigars that you have in stock and how long have they been sitting? You find something over a year, you will absolutely be blessed smoking that cigar box. Number 5 is a big one. It's really good for you new beginners out there that are just getting into cigars. I'll say this, if you walk in, you've heard about a cigar and you go in there and you say, hey, I'm looking for the cigar, and they don't have what you're looking for, ask them for something similar. Often you'll find like something that your palate hasn't experienced that's similar to the cigar that you want, that might be your brand new favorite cigar. You never know unless you ask. If you ask a knowledgeable retailer, they're going to be able to point you in the right direction immediately so that your palate's going to be absolutely pleased and you'll be satisfied as a customer.
Did you ever find any old boxes when you were working at like a cigar warehouse, when you were like, when things were clearing out and you were starting to like clear out the warehouses and stuff?
Oh,
were there any like
100%.
boxes and you were just like, what the is this?
We had a box of LFD. It's a box of LFD triple Lajero, I believe, is it something like that. I can't remember what it was.
They have a triple? I know they have a double.
Maybe it was double Lajero. I can't remember what it was, but all I know is that I didn't know what it was, and the LFD rep came in and saw it and went, whoa, you have one of those? And I smoked one. I couldn't believe how good it was. And that's really when I was just getting into cigars as far as like a retailer, so I was just learning about all the different blends. I mean, I had been smoking cigars for years, but as anybody out there smoking cigars, you tend to stay within, I don't know, 10 different brands that you rotate through versus like going out and exploring other brands. And I never really explored LFD until that moment. And then I was like, wow, that's a really good cigar. Or I found a bunch of vintage Camacho Corojos in there.
The original?
It was absolutely like buttery, sweet. Is that, you know what it reminded me of? That Corojo reminded me of Fiddle Faddle. Yeah, the old Fiddle Faddle, like caramelized popcorn. Oh, it was so good. Beautiful tasting, just absolutely.
I'm glad you elaborated on the Fiddle Faddle because I was lost.
Yeah, caramelized popcorn with some spice on there. I absolutely loved every single one of those cigars. And I bought a box. It was incredible. It really was. So,
final thoughts.
A great stick, a very, very good stick. It definitely could have Cuban tobacco in there. I will say that the cigar in general is very, very good. I'd probably rate it at like 89, 90. And I definitely would say it does taste Cuban-esque. Does it have pre-embargo Cuban, tobacco in there? Camacho says it does. I taste a little bit of it in there, so maybe it really does. And if you've ever had this, drop a comment below and let me know what you think about, what you thought about this cigar. What about you, man? How's the Andalusian Bull turning out for you?
Man, it really surprised me. It was not what I expected.
Okay.
I did not expect this woody cedar creaminess with this little bit of spice. It's really good. I don't remember what the price tag usually is on this.
It's expensive. It's probably 17 to 20 bucks.
But see, yeah. I would pay that before I would pay 30 or 40 for some other ones.
Oh, yeah.
That are in that price range to smoke this. And I will honestly say I've been waiting to smoke this for a long time. You can vouch for me on that.
Yes.
I'm impressed. I'm surprised. And I'm very happy I got to smoke this. I will find another one. And I will smoke it. Might even get more than another one.
Absolutely.
Enjoyed it.
Well, big shout out to Brandon, the guy who gifted these cigars to us. Thank you guys so much for watching the Zeal Cigar Review. I've been Bradley. This has been JB. With that said, we're out of here like last year. Peace.